Animals in myth often reflect what that particular society valued, revered, or feared, at least natively around them. And I'm saying this because I'm a person who not only loves researching and enjoying reading about all sorts of myths from around the world, but I also write my myth-based retellings. And take in point, one of the series I wrote is a retelling, a 16 novella series based off of Nordic myth. Well, in Nordic myth, some of the animals that pop up a lot are wolves, and wolves were both served as these antagonists, like you have Fenrir, the giant wolf, that comes in Ragnarok, and his offspring, which include the wolves that chase after the sun and moon that will consume them at the end of days. But you also have wolves represented by Odin's pets. He had two, and along with ravens, Hugin and Munin, that were always with him as well. But you see this kind of nature where they revere certain animals, and they can still fear them in the same way, but you had the warriors called the berserkers, which were the bear cloaks, and they kind of use the bear as their totem spirit, channeling the essence of the bear itself when they go into their berserker rages. In the lore, when they went to fight or to battle. Same thing with the Ufilinen, because their totem animal was wolves, and there's some even people believe that there was a third group that used a wild boar as, again, their animal totem when they got into their version of this kind of wild rage before they started to fight. But these are just animals that in the Nordic countries, they were thought of powerful and, again, either vicious, but definitely something worthy to note, and again, be it revered or be it feared. They were talked about a lot. Now, right now, I'm working on a Greek myth duology, and you can see the same thing happening in Greek myth as well. Not only do they talk a lot about lions and leopards, and lions, I'm not exactly sure leopards, it wouldn't surprise me, but lions did exist in ancient Greece. Obviously, at one point they got hunted out and they're no more, but lions and leopards were out there, as well as wolves. You can hear, again, these reflection of these giant predators, but there's a lot of stories where things like wild boar or rampaging bulls are fearsome creatures. You have everything from the bull itself, that was the sire of the Minotaur, this half-bull monster that the hero Theseus has to deal with. You have Heracles, who has to deal with a type of boar. There's actually the Caledonian boar hunt, where all these heroes have to go and kind of defeat this gigantic version of a wild boar that is rampaging through the area sent by the goddess Artemis. But these are, again, animals that held some level of esteem due to their ferocity and just wild nature, and it's reflected in the stories, the myths, and how they value creatures. And I'll give one quick other, because I know this is going to be a long one, but one other example. In ancient Egypt, there is a creature called Amut, and Amut is this animal, this entity, this beast of oblivion, that when a soul was being judged, if you fail the judgment, Amut gets to eat your soul. And Amut was described as this kind of chimera-like spliced creature, and they put together the three most fearsome, and actually in reality the three most deadly animals of ancient Egypt. You had part crocodile, you had part hippo, and hippos are actually very dangerous creatures if you weren't aware, and part lion. And you put these three together and you created Amut. So it was a representation of the most fearsome animals that the ancient Egyptian people had contact with on a regular basis. So animals in lore and fiction, and especially myth, they hold power to themselves, and there's a reason why they're there. And for me, I just always am enamored about the values the peoples had and the weight of influence they gave these creatures and how they affected the myths that were developed because of them.